Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, very, very good question.
Yeah, this is a very good question.
Oh my gosh. That's such a good question.
Oh, that's a great question.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question, Zanger.
It's a great question.
It's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Really good question.
Gosh, this question to me, I hate this question.
That's a loaded question. but okay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for your support of Indie Agency News. And let's meet an indie agency. We go to Baltimore, hun.
I like it.
Baltimore. I guess the rest of the world calls it Baltimore, but it's Baltimore, right?
Baltimore or Baltimore. It just depends on what part of town you're from, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Jed and John joining us from Planit. Got to meet you all at the Amen conference, correct? Yes, that was fun in Louisville. Again, pronounce it correctly. But no, I was really stoked to meet all of you and to learn more about the agency. And what I want to start with is just give us a little bit of a background, how the agency got started, how long it's been cooking, and what it's been up to.
I can jump in on that, Doug. First, thanks for having us here. We're excited to be here and a part of the indie group here. We're really proud of it. Planit, we've been around for 30 years. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. The agency was started by two guys, incredible guys, Doud and Ed Callahan. One was an art director, the other was a copywriter, and it's the classic origin story of it starting in a basement. And like you said, now we've got a beautiful space in the heart of Baltimore there on the water. We're about 80 people deep. We're a full service agency that spans, full creative development. We've got media, we've got PR, social media, we've got an in-house productions team. We do web development. So, anything that we do in our clients team, we really just wrap around them with full service. And that's what we stand by. So again, we're happy to be here.
Yeah, cool. Every agency has a list of stuff, right? So, John, you mentioned full service, and there are a lot of pieces behind it. But I would argue that there are certain things that maybe bubble up to the top. Maybe the agency's been doing it a little bit longer. Maybe they have a slightly deeper expertise. What would you say the agency is best known for? And what would you say your top three core strengths are, looking through the lens of providing solutions? What are the three top solutions for clients and brands?
You know what? Maybe I'll jump in here, John, if you don't mind. I feel like number one is great people. It's not often I think that you really love to work with every single person who works at a brand or a company. So I think our clients actually look forward to meeting with us. It's fun. We all work all day, so why not make it fun? Along with that, I feel like talent. Obviously, I have had the chance to work with a lot of in-house teams and a lot of agencies across the country and the world of varying sizes, and Planet's team is second to none. And I think primarily because we figure out a way to figure out anything.
Right.
So if you want help of any kind, we have it. But to your point, I think strategy, brand design, and being sort of respectfully disruptive would be some things you can count on from us.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Being independent is, we're in another, I would argue, another golden era of independence, which there's a whole other series of shows on that. But why is being indie important to the team, and why is being independent important for your clients and for brands?
I'll take this one, Jed. And Doug, I'm sure that you hear this a lot, but the ability to move by the beat of our own drum, I think, is really what motivates us and what excites us about being an independent agency. And I've been at Planit for about 6 years. Prior to that, I spent another 10 just sort of coming up in the ranks on the client service side. And I think what really stands out about Planit is we're ready to take a risk. We're ready to take on a new challenge. And there's nothing that really scares us. We embrace innovation. We embrace change and the ability to adapt to our clients' needs. I think being solutions oriented is at the forefront of what we need and require for everyone who steps through the door at Planit. So when I think about what that means for an independent agency, it's the ability to be free from shareholder pressures or red tape or overly engineered process. We are able to move quickly and flexibly for our clients. And I think our clients would all tell you that those are things that they really value in working with Planit, is that we can move quickly, but we're also ready to jump in head first into something that we haven't done before because it helps them solve a problem.
Right. Let's talk about the main reason a brand should work with Planit. What is the main reason a brand should work with you?
I mentioned this before, Doug, a little bit, being respectfully disruptive. It's probably something that maybe some agencies claim, but I feel like we really do that. And one of the reasons is we respect your brand. We will learn your brand, and we don't assume that we know better. But once we do learn the brand and understand things, understand your point of view and have a relationship, it is our job to figure out things that you might be able to do very differently, or figure out a consumer perception that maybe you haven't seen before that we could rally against, and give you ideas that you haven't thought about before and might be somewhat scary, but
Sure.
not illogical. So I think that that's a great reason to work with us. And like I said, paired with that, it's fun to work with us. We have senses of humor. We are very smart, but it should be something that people look forward to in their day to meet with us.
Before I get to this next, I do want to talk about Baltimore, and it's interesting because I'm in Portland, and Portland isn't, I mean, it is an agency town. You take a look at the classics: San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Atlanta to some degree, Dallas to some degree. Baltimore is interesting because you're nudged in between. My family's from South Jersey, so Philadelphia. Yeah, Philly, DC, but also New York is not that far away. It is a very interesting market. I'm curious about how the market helps inform the way that you do the work, because again, if you're going to Barkley in Kansas City, Barkley OKRP, sorry, I got to get that right. If you're heading out to Kansas City for that, that's not what you would call necessarily a traditional advertising market or a creative market. But I'm curious about, because Baltimore is a dynamic city. I mean, it's a very, very cool place. The whole region is really, it's awesome. And I'm not saying that because I've got family there in Frederick and Columbia and Westminster. But talk a little bit about that, because it is an interesting place.
Yeah, it really is interesting. I'm kind of born and raised here, and I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of business in Portland, actually, Doug. And it's interesting because there's a comparable pride that both cities have, and also a little bit of like other people don't understand the city maybe as well as people who actually live there.
Sure.
It's a blue collar town historically, and I do think that people from Baltimore have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Sure. Which feeds right into sort of our entrepreneurial spirit. It's a great city, great restaurants, great neighborhoods. To be honest, there's some things about Baltimore that have gotten a bad reputation, but I think those things have been severely overblown.
Yeah, same in Portland. I get that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the middle of the Mid-Atlantic, and it's a great region, as you said, and it's accessible, and it's a great place to visit too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Get you on out to Ocean City. Out to Ocean City. Well, let's talk about talent then. Why should talent be putting your agency on their list? John, you want to take that one?
I can do that. Yeah. I think the people who succeed at Planit are those who are able to have a vision of what they want and are motivated to go out and get it. And I think what Planit does is offer a great structured environment that surrounds talent with the right resources, the right teams, great leaders. But I don't think, like I said earlier, I don't think that we're overly processed in any way. And there's a lot of freedom and autonomy for people to explore and people to learn new things and people to get into different disciplines than maybe they've had previously. And so I think we provide a really great support system. As Jed said, the output of our agency is top notch, and that speaks for itself. But I think the thing that talent would really appreciate about Planit is that there's the ability to make your own way, and we really foster a culture of growth and development, and it's something that we really believe in.
Jed, I want to ask you about the creative side of it, because you've got University of Maryland, you got Morgan State, you got Towson, you've got Johns Hopkins. I mean, well, is there a creative department, a creative program at Johns Hopkins? Probably not.
Yeah.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I just think of them as medicine.
They're all smart. Everyone who goes there,
they're really, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got the U.S. Naval Academy. It's very interesting place. So how do you approach getting young and new talent in the door, understanding that there is some really rich territory, plus the demographic makeup of Baltimore is very diverse. So I'm curious about how you approach that.
Well, we honestly have a great internship program, and I wonder, we should have done some research before this to figure out the percentage, but we hire a lot of our interns, and our interns generally ask us if they can be hired too, indicating obviously that they like the job and they like the agency. I think that our reputation, we don't like to think of ourselves as a local firm, because we obviously have national clients and a pretty broad reach, but we have a great reputation locally. People enjoy working at Planit. We have great accounts. We have great teams. As John said, we do have really good leaders who essentially expect you to jump in. So, word gets around, and people know that if you join Planit, regardless of whether you're on the creative side, account side, PR, social, etc., the expectation is that you'll start working right away and do stuff.
Right.
And you're not going to get slapped on the wrist if you make a mistake. It's not like that at Planit at all, which is pretty amazing. But I just think people know from what they've heard and what they've seen and what their friends say when they're out at bars or whatever, it's a great place to be. So that gets out to all of those schools that you mentioned, and it helps.
Slapped on the wrist.
It's not fun.
No. Been there.
Unless it's one of those slap bracelets, which is the intent, and those things are really cool.
I wish that when I had made mistakes that I had gotten the slap bracelet.
Yeah, an award.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right, we're going to start getting into some stories here. We always end with a little bit of a thought experiment. Whether they are a client or not, which CMO or marketer would you like to say hello to? Jed, I see you nodding. I'm going to make you go first.
So I have become prey to the pickleball craze. And I'm damn proud of it. It's such a fun sport and game, and anyone can play. And so there's a lot of brands that have gotten kind of big in the space, and there's one called Selkirk Sport. Their CMO's name is Doud Thielen, and I don't know him. I'd like to say hi to him. I've worked in sport for a really long time, so that's always something I'm like keeping my eye on. But man, I would love to meet them and help them if we could.
So you said a stint in sport. You're in Baltimore. Does that mean Under Armour?
That does mean Under Armour. Yeah, there's a little stint there. Great place.
I think everybody had a little stint there. John,
they've employed a lot of people. That's
yes, they have. John, your hello.
Jed, I would have never guessed Selkirk, and it was one that was in my my thoughts as well. I played a lot of golf, and picked it up really throughout COVID, when that was really the only thing that you could do.
Right.
And there is this really small niche bag brand out of Oregon called Jones Sports, if you're familiar with it, Doug.
Yes, very.
And what I love about Jones Sports, first off, they have absolutely incredible customer service. You're talking to a human. I think they only have 10 employees or something like that. But they break the mold of, I think, the golf stereotype of being stuffy and country club and all of that. And it's just more about the enjoyment of the game, connecting with people, spending time outside. They're great storytellers, and it's grounded in this incredibly iconic product that I myself have one. But I'd love the opportunity to work with them. I think we do at Planit that really well is this intersection of telling a technology story, but in a human, authentic way. And I think there's a lot that we could do together with them. So
Get you over to BWI, fly to Seattle on Alaska Airlines, a little hop down to Portland Bay.
Come on.
There you go. It's easier to get here than you think. Listen, Jed and John from Planit, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your partnership, your membership, your support. We wish you nothing but the best going forward. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.